Perfect, perfect. Okay, we are gonna get started.
All right, when do you guys want me to get started?
I think we're ready, Frank.
All right, how many people do we have?
We have 10 participants as of
Okay.
right now. Yep.
Awesome, very cool, very cool. Okay, so we will get started. So I've done this specific presentation probably for the last, oh gosh, since 2009, 2010, and it has always slowly changed and grew as social media and as everything's changed. So there's actually a lot of different versions of this. This is the one that I do for Facebook because I do believe for real estate, Facebook is the most powerful platform out there when it comes to social media. Instagram is slowly edging up there, and a lot of things that I'm going to talk about today, you're going to be able to basically do on Instagram as well. I think what's going to end up happening is that Instagram is going to end up getting its own class at some point. But as far as our purposes today, you can do a lot of things on both platforms. If you guys have questions, please feel free, jump in the chat. I know that we have Paolo over on that side of Larchmont. We have Cassidy over here, so we'll be able to field your questions on anything that you have. And I love questions, so ask me whatever you want to ask me. So how to leverage your social media to grow your business and make power moves. Before I start out a social media class, the number one question I always ask agents is, have you ever searched yourself? I think the statistic was at some point that 80% of all people go online before they go out and look at houses. And I think that was probably before the pandemic. I'm pretty sure 100% of everybody goes online at this point. But the one thing that I realized very early on in my career is that your people and your clients and people who are interested in working with you, no matter how close they are with you, they're going to search you. They're going to go to Google and they're going to type your name in. And it's really important that you know what pops up there. And there is a way to control that. And you want to see what people see. What are people seeing when they put your name in? I was recruiting an agent a couple of weeks ago, and his mom wanted to talk to me. His mom was a huge agent, and she Googled me. And she called me out on something like, what's this? What's that? What's this? And I was able to answer all of it because I knew exactly what was on the first page of my Google. The big joke in Google is like, if you ever want to hide a dead body, do it on the second page of Google search results, because nobody usually typically goes there if they don't find what they want on the first page. Google is really super powerful. I always joke around that Google is your mom and YouTube is your dad, because back when I was a kid, if I ever had a question or needed help, I would go to my mom and ask my mom a question. And if I ever wanted to learn how to do something, I would go to my dad and ask my dad a question. But now our kids just go to Google and they just go to YouTube to figure things out. It's really amazing. And just so you know, Google saves everything that you type into that search box. No matter what it is, they save it. And you can put like crazy things in there. It's on a server somewhere in a building that's owned by Google. So just keep that in mind. It's super powerful. Google reviews. So I'm a really, really big component of not using Zillow, not having your clients put reviews on Zillow. Google is very powerful. This is not going to turn into a Google class. That's actually a whole separate class. But Google reviews are something that's really powerful, because when you search something, one of the first things that pops up is typically Google. And if you do not have a Google My Business page, you are actually missing out on some of the internet power, social media power that's out there. You should absolutely get a Google page, and you should have all of your clients go to Google and review you on there. That's going to give you a lot more power and a lot more strengths. Instead of having your clients go to Zillow. Going to Zillow and having them write a review is like asking them to go to the RE/MAX office and write a review for you there. It's a little silly. So when you Google yourself, you can see I type in Frank Bernardo Real Estate, and the first thing that pops up is my office, Keller Williams West Side. You can see there's already reviews there. And then if you kept scrolling down on this page, which is just a screenshot, you would be able to see all the things that I feel are relevant to my business. And that's what should happen with you. And you should be able to figure out all the things that are important to you. So when somebody Googles you, You have all the information right there at your fingertips, and you already know. So how do I approach people on social media? I feel that one of the biggest issues right now with agents and social media is that we feel it's a platform to quote unquote post stuff. And we are missing the boat when it comes to this platform of communication. People are going to use you when they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And this is ultimately the platform that's going to help you with all of that. But what we need to do as real estate agents is we need to start approaching this platform, Facebook, social media in general, as a two-way communication, to not just post things for people to see, but to go on there and have conversations with people. Imagine if you were door knocking and you're walking down the street and there was a green light above every house where someone was home. I mean, how cool is that? Well, that's exactly what social media and Facebook is. So you can go and see actually who's online and strike up a conversation. Social media is not super complicated. Do not make it super complicated. We as humans tend to make everything way more complicated than it is. And I felt this was really powerful when I first realized this, and it was just like my little BB brain could not get it wrapped around that, like, there's people out there that have 10 million followers and 50 million followers. We all started at zero. And what you did, your actions and your choices led to how many followers you have today. And some people got lucky. Some people figured out the quote unquote hack, which I'm going to tell you a lot of that information today on how they got to millions upon millions of followers. I think what's important is that we need to understand that this is a game of patience and not of events. This is not an event. You're not going to go post something and you're going to go randomly viral and you're going to get millions of followers that are just going to buy real estate from you. That just doesn't happen. You have to be patient with the process, and everybody's process is different. When you show up and you want to make a first impression, what do you want to do? I always tell everybody this, and especially agents on my team, when you show up to a listing presentation and you've never met people before, you do everything you possibly can to put your best foot forward. Oh, I heard a dog. Who's got a dog? That's awesome. So the thing is that when you show up to a listing presentation, like the way I'm dressed now, I was excited to come to Larchmont, hang out with you guys, and I dressed up. I put a tie on, I put a vest. Like I spent real time figuring out my outfit today. And then Pialo was like, you can't come. Totally joking. So I wanted to put my best foot forward. So I did everything I could to make sure that I had my outfit on point. I went over my presentation to make sure my presentation was on point. I tweaked a few things here and there to make sure that you guys had all the information. I did everything I possibly could to put my best foot forward, to look the best, to sound the best, to give you the best information before I showed up in front of you, because a lot of you guys, I just don't know. So who are you trying to impress? That's the key. People are going to use you when they know you, like you, and trust you. You're going to hear me say that a lot during this. So when you put your best foot forward, you want to do that online as well. So let's go to my Facebook profile. This is my Facebook cover photo. And I put Tracy on there. Tracy and myself are on there because, first of all, she looks way better than I do. And she's going to get more looks, more views, and people are going to say, oh man, he's a cool guy. Look, she's an attractive woman. You know, he's with her. He must not be that bad. If I'm just putting myself out there, you know, people are going to form their own opinion. On average, women get more views and more likes than men because women look at women and men look at women. That's just the way that works. Putting up something on your cover photo and randomly changing it helps you with your engagement with people and helps when people come to your page. And you want to put something up that shows who you are. I'm in business with my wife. That's pretty clear and pretty apparent. She's really cool. If you Google her, you'll see that there's a lot of cool stuff that she's done. You put up, if you have kids, put up fun things you do with your kids. Put up things that you do for fun, like a hobby. Hobbies are really, really a big deal because when you go in front of somebody and a client looks you up, they're looking for a reason to connect to you. And if you can find a connector with somebody, like, oh, wow, you go mountain climbing, oh, you go bike riding, you go to the lake, you have a boat, you have dogs. Like, when I hear dogs or I see dogs, that's an instant connector because I'm a dog dad. I have 2 crazy dogs at home that just listen better than my kids, and they're just really fun. And so when anybody ever has a dog, that's an instant connector with me. The same with kids. You have your followers, and then you have the people that I'm following. So 843 followers, it says that. Do I have like a little light on here?
Oh, you do.
I do. You know, it doesn't shine on the screen though. So it says I had 843 followers, and I'm following 1,800 people. So what that means is that if somebody sends you a friend request and you don't accept it, they automatically just become a follower. And then 1.8 thousand is the amount of people that I've clicked through and I started following as well. Now, this is one of the biggest issues that I see with people, with agents, specifically agents or business owners on social media. You have to be very intentional and precise about what you're putting here. This is your information. So right above was my cover photo, and then right to the left, when I clicked on my main profile, this is all the information about me, and you can control it. You can control what's on there and what people see. So, keys. Be intentional and precise about what you put on here. Do not, listen, I have probably had more jobs than most people. I've done a whole bunch of crazy stuff in my life. I've been a cop, I've been in the military, I've been a stuntman. Things that I would never put on here, I have been. But the goal is to put your best foot forward and put the things on there that are going to be most engaging with people. So you see that profile digital creator, former CEO, and team leader at Keller Williams Porter Ranch. I put that on there because I want people to know that I've been doing this for a while. Former MAPS coach, leadership coach. I want people to know that I'm a coach. I'm a former combat military police officer in the U.S. Army. That connects with a lot of people, and it gives you respect when you put something like that up there. So that's why I put that up there. I studied at College of the Canyons, my high school. I did the college thing is so when people that you've come into contact with in the past connect with you, that's one way that they can find you. Where I live, where I'm from, and who I'm married to, and then my Instagram and my website. It's very, very intentional how I put that together. I did it to make myself as attractive as I possibly can, and that's how you should look at this. Is probably one of the biggest things that I can tell you right now, because if you click on this, you're going to find my phone number, you're going to find all of that stuff. I cannot tell you how many times I've searched for an agent, or I'm looking to connect with an agent, and then I click on this information. It's got a whole bunch of Michigan stuff that's like irrelevant, and then there's no contact information. I don't care if you don't ever go on Facebook. If you have a Facebook, make sure your contact information is on there, because there's people that are looking for you that can't find you. Most agents don't have the right contact info. You have to create validity. People will search you. The number one mistake almost all realtors make is information is not congruent over all sites. What do I mean by that? So there's a book out there about social media for real estate agents. And it says, sign up on the big five, sign up on all the social media sites. I will tell you, absolutely do not do that unless you plan on managing all of your sites. Now that can be very cumbersome. I do not have a profile on all social media sites just because I know what's relevant, I know what works, I know where my people are searching for me. How good would it look if you had Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and it was updated and posted and up to date every day? It would look amazing, but the thing is you would need help to do that. What you want to avoid is that a lot of agents I know have Twitter, but they haven't posted on Twitter since 2016. And what will happen is that someone will Google you and they will find all of your social media stuff, and they'll see that you posted at the bar last Friday and that you haven't posted on Twitter since 2016. It'll look like it's a mess. But if it's all congruent, let's say you don't have a Twitter, let's say you don't have a YouTube, let's say that's fine. It is totally fine to not have a social media platform as long as the ones you have, you're active on. So I would tell you, if you're not big on social media and you're like, God, I know I have to do this, but what do I do? I would say Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You can, if you can do the video thing with Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And if you've gone to LinkedIn lately, LinkedIn looks like Facebook. So you would just basically do the same thing that you're doing on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and don't connect them to where they bleed over to each other. I am not a big fan of that, and neither is Facebook. But connect with the platforms that you will use consistently. And if you've been doing this for any amount of time, bless you.
Thank you.
No problem. Love it. So if you want any success in real estate or any business that you're in, the one main thing that's going to help you is consistency. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And it's the same thing with social media. You see people out there that have millions upon millions upon millions of viewers and followers and subscribers. If you go to their stuff, you will see the one thing that they do is they're consistent with the message. And they don't just post stuff. They post meaningful content, and we're going to get into that, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If you've ever taken a social media class and they said, create a posting schedule, post home inspections on Monday and showings on Tuesday, don't do that. That's silly. Don't do that at all. All right, so there's a strategy to every social media post that I do, because I understand the algorithm, I understand how it all works, and I'm going to explain it all to you now. So if you look at these two posts that I did, I was in Austin, Texas. I tagged the place where we were at. I used emojis, I used hashtags, and then I spaced out my message. So you don't ever want to clump your message together to where it's like this really tight paragraph, because what that does is it makes it a little difficult to read for people. When you start breaking it up like this, it makes it more fun, it makes it more creative. And then I tagged people. And what I did is that I made sure that I put enough text in there to where you have to click the see more to see more. And then I posted photos. So let's talk about the Facebook algorithm. This is the reason that I did that. So Facebook has a lot of different things that go into their algorithm. It's not just these three things, but these are the three most important things. There's a lot of different things, and it's always changing. This is why you have to stay up on social media news, on what's going on, to understand how this works. The number one thing is time decay. So time decay is the amount of time when you make a post and then when someone engages with it. So when you post something, whatever it is, the clock starts ticking. And then when somebody engages with it, it restarts. So if it happens a lot of people start liking it, a lot of people start sharing it, a lot of people start commenting, you're going to see a snowball effect. But if it's a slow start, you're going to get less engagement. Number two is weight. There are some things that are way more important than others. The number one thing, shares are the most important thing. This is why you don't want to post something that is only for you. You should follow the 80-20 rule. I'm going to probably jump around here. This is probably later in the thing. The 80-20 rule is really important when it comes to social media. You should do 80% of your content for everybody else and only 20% for yourself. So when someone asks you, like when someone tells you, you need to post this and post this and post this, social media is less about posting and more about engaging. When you go back to this here, when I post something and somebody clicks on the see more, that's the same as them clicking a like. So you have shares, replies, comments, likes, and clicks. Clicks is when somebody clicks on a link or something that you post on there. I would tell you, do not post links that take people away from Facebook. Facebook doesn't like that. You're not going to get rewarded very much for it. Replies are really important. If you go to my social media, I really try to be diligent about this. When somebody says something, I always click like on their comment, and then I reply, thank you. Or I try to make some type of reply, because all of that factors in to how many people are going to see what I'm posting up there. Affinity is the third one. Affinity is the engagement between you and another component on Facebook. Facebook is picking about 50 people for you to interact with, and that number and the people are always changing based on your actions. So if you notice when you go on social media and Facebook, there's always a lot of the same people that you usually see. Sometimes Facebook will throw a few things in there. That'll be dependent on your activities on Facebook. most active rule, the right now rule, and you can manufacture infinity. You do this by going to people's pages and commenting and liking, sending messages out. When you direct message somebody on Facebook, that goes into your algorithm, and those people will start showing up in your feed. I started going on Applied to find people that I grew up with, and I started messaging and commenting and liking a lot of people that I went to high school with, and all of a sudden they started going into my feed. So that's how you manufacture the infinity aspect of it. Don't just go on social media and look at stuff. That's called a lurker. That's great, but I cannot tell you how many times I'll post something, I'll post a video, I'll post something funny, Tracy and I'll do something silly online, and then the person will never like, never comment, never share, but then I'll see them in the office and I'm like, oh my God, that was so funny. Or they'll ask me a question about it, and I'll be like, and I'm really aware of like who likes my stuff, so I'll know. But it's those are called lurkers, and it's fine, but if you want to get more engagement, you have to jump in there and you have to actually start communicating and commenting on people. Are there any questions yet? Is everybody good? Pretty good? All right, we'll keep going. There's a hierarchy of posts. Not all posts are the same. It doesn't like links if it takes you away from Facebook. Facebook's goal is to keep you on their platform. That is the whole purpose there. That is because the most important thing out there is data. And if they can keep you on there longer, they're going to be able to charge more for advertising. They're going to be able to put more sponsorships in front of you. They don't want you to leave the platform. Short messages. It's not a lot of engagement opportunity if you just post short messages. Even if you post a photo, even if you post a video, putting a long form text in there is going to be beneficial to you. Take the time to do it. It's going to help you with your affinity score. Long text, you're spending time on there, which is what they like, and then copy and paste is monitored and not liked as much. So I've done this, and I know other people have done it. They see something cool, or they post a comment on LinkedIn or Instagram, they copy it, and then they go to Facebook and paste it. Well, if you copy something that would normally take you 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes to write, and paste it and hit send, Facebook goes, oh wait, he just copied that from somewhere, and you're not going to get as much engagement as you would like because they're going to know you did that. So the way you fix that is you copy and you paste something, wait a minute. Just sit there and wait as if you were writing it and then post it. That's going to show Facebook that you're actually on there and you're actually spending the time that it takes to put that message up. Does that make sense? I have nobody in the room here. It's like super weird.
No, it's so empty. It's empty.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you about the social media strategy that is probably the most powerful one that I've ever seen. And I would love to say that I'm the one that came up with this, but I'm not that smart. I'm actually in a networking group of these guys that are just multimillionaires, and they do all of this social media crazy stuff. They have massive engagement, massive followers, and they basically put a lot of this stuff together. So we call it the lucky number 7. So what we want you to do is take your dream list of 25 people. 25 people that you just wish you could be in business with, that you wish you could sell their real estate, that you wish you were connected to. It can be anybody. 25 of the perfect dream clients that you would want to work with. You're gonna do 3 things 7 days a week. Write on one person's wall per day, make a comment on somebody's post, and then send a DM to someone different. What that's going to do, it's going to start spreading your engagement all over the place, and it's going to get your algorithm up to where it needs to be. Pro tip, don't introduce yourself with a sales pitch. If we're all realtors here, we've all had that affiliate that has jumped onto our direct messages and said, hey, I'm so-and-so NHD rep and blah, 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 blah. And they give you this whole sales pitch before they even introduce themselves. They're not treating the platform like two-way communication. They're treating it like a push marketing aspect, like I'm sending you a flyer. It's like, no, jump on, introduce yourself, tell me who you are, and then see if we're a fit to do business together. Or create a relationship by just having a conversation with me. Mention something that you've seen on that I've done with my kids, or that I've done with my job, or somebody that we have a connection with. One of the things that I think is really powerful is before I go on an appointment with either an agent or a seller or a buyer, I will search them on Google, I will try to find them on Facebook, and then I'll see if we have anybody in common. And if we're connected with anybody, that is going to be really powerful to walk in and go, hey, do you know so-and-so? So power moves versus force. So force is what I would consider cold calling, door knocking, circle prospecting. I really want everybody to understand this. We have probably the strongest hustle of any sales group on the planet when it comes to real estate. We wake up in the morning and we have it ingrained into our mind that we're gonna wake up and go make phone calls and talk to somebody that has no clue who we are and influence them to do business with us. I mean, that's hardcore. And so what you want to do is I want to get your mind out of that, because with social media, especially Facebook, it's given us a platform to go online and learn about people and create a relationship where there was never a relationship before. Power moves versus force moves. Power moves would be going on somebody's Facebook and commenting and having a conversation like you're walking into a room with them. Facebook door knocking is what I said earlier. You see a green light on above everybody's house. So that's basically you go into the chat and you see green lights on people that are on there, and you go in and you just start a conversation with them. Sharing people's info. Find info that you think is informative, that you think is valuable. Coming from contribution and finding content that other people are going to like, that's going to be the most powerful thing you can do. And that's how you're going to get more engagement with your audience. Podcasting. I am not telling you to go out and create a podcast. There's way too many people that are like, oh, I'm going to go create a podcast. Typically what happens is when people create a podcast, they have about 7 episodes and they figure they don't have anything else to talk about, and it doesn't really go further from there. Figure out what your niche is. What is your niche in real estate? Is it foreclosures? Is it short sales? Is it probates? Is it lead generate? And then what you need to do is go on other people's podcasts. Find a way to get on other people's podcasts, get booked on other people's podcasts, talking about the things that you do. And then you compliment them. You compliment the podcast or compliment the person that's talking to you. Become a pro. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love this. Neil deGrasse Tyson is revered in a lot of different ways. And most people don't realize that he didn't really do much before he became popular and famous. What happened was he was like some manager of some big telescope or some big thing. And what happened is that they interviewed him for something random. And he figured out that he had a niche of explaining super complicated space things in a simple way. He was able to take what's a black hole and give it to you in a 30-second soundbite. That became super popular, and news organizations, interviewers, everybody flocked to him because he was able to disseminate complicated information into small sound bites. That's what made him so famous. I have my own personal view about him, but I'll keep it to myself. So you can see right here, it has a screenshot of all the green lights. That's like those people are on there. You can go on there and you can have conversations with them. These are power moves. If you walk into a room and you see a whole bunch of people talking, you have the opportunity to have conversations with them. That's who these people are. Live video is liked more than anything else. Now, this is probably the biggest brick wall that I've come up against with real estate agents, because a lot of real estate agents don't like video. They don't like putting themselves on video. I get it. I don't like putting myself. I do video, and you've probably seen me on video if you follow me. I don't like it, but I do it. They're able to catch a tremendous amount of data from live video. That's why Facebook, that's why social media, that's why everybody has a live platform, because data is the big thing right now. The whip effect are basically the 3 E's: entertaining, engaging, and emotional. If you look at any commercial that's out there, like farmers commercials are like some of the best commercials that are out there because they're funny. and they're engaging because they're relatable in a lot of things that they talk about. Another way to be engaging is asking questions. Ask questions in your video. Emotional. You know what? Emotional is the number one thing that if you can create that in anything you do, you're gonna win. There was some weird car commercial that you didn't even know it was a car commercial, but by the end of that commercial, it had you crying. And I know we've all seen it, like we've all seen the Budweiser commercials where there's no conversation, just shows the Clydesdales, and then they do something weird, and then we all end up in tears, like during the Super Bowl. Like, the key for marketing is to create an emotional connection. A lot of times, the best way to do that with a video is to share personal information. If you become vulnerable and you are authentic and you share personal information about you, that's gonna help you connect with the audience. I did a live video when Keller Williams, during one of our mega camps, we canceled mega camp and we went out to help Katrina because that's when Houston got destroyed by the hurricane. I don't know if everybody remembers that, but we went out there as Keller Williams as a group. And you know, all the news cameras and everything that were out there, that gave you a perspective of what happened. So this was 2 weeks after it happened. And we show up, all the news cameras are gone. We show up and we get driven, probably went about 75 people in this bus, and we're driving to Houston. And I was blown away of the devastation. It was off the chart. And we get into this neighborhood and it's just completely destroyed. And I did a live video there, and honestly, I didn't plan on it, but like I started tearing up, I got choked up, and showing the devastation that was around me and just being authentic gave me so much, like people flocked to the video because I was being authentic and I brought out emotion in other people because I was like, listen, it's 2 weeks past. Like people are already talking about like Korea going to war with us and all this stuff. Everybody's forgotten about Houston, but like this is still a real thing. And it was very emotional. When you can do that in your social media, not just about bad things, you can do about happy things like graduation. One of my most viral posts so far this year was my daughter graduating. I took a photo and video and all this stuff of my daughter graduating, and I shared a moment that I did not graduate high school. I ended up getting my GED, and you know, I had to push my daughter across the finish line to get her degree and all this stuff. And I got hundreds of likes and comments, and it was amazing. So it doesn't have to all be bad, it could be good, but the video aspect of it is really, really important. I put a video in that post, I put multiple pictures in that post, I put hashtags, I put emojis, and I did all the things that you were supposed to do, and it paid off. Know your room. This is probably the most important thing that I can tell you. 80-20 rule, 80% of the content for them, 20% of the content for you. When you walk into a room, you're not gonna just randomly walk up to people and say, hey, my name is Frank, do you wanna buy a house? Oh, no, okay, hi, my name is Frank, do you wanna buy a house? You're not gonna walk around the room and say that. First of all, you're gonna get to 10 people and they're gonna throw you out. Second of all, you're gonna walk around and you're gonna see groups of people having conversations, and you're gonna step in, and the first thing you're going to do when you walk into a room of people that you're not sure if you know them or not is you're gonna listen. And this is the most underrated aspect of social media is when you walk into a room, you walk onto your social media, listen first, find out what people are talking about. See if you can connect with it. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen a post that I jump on and I'm like, I'm gonna comment on that. And then I go through all of the posts, I go through all of the information, and I realize, you know what? I'm not gonna comment on that because it started going sideways or something, some conversation changed or whatever. I decided that I wasn't gonna jump into the conversation. And that's the same thing that you have to do when you jump on social media. Listen first, find out who's talking about what. Because guess what? You're in a room of 100 people, somebody in there has to sell a house. And your job is to go through, listen, have conversations, be interested, because that's interesting, and talk to people. You don't just want to go through and hand out business cards to everybody. Because if you hand out 100 business cards in a room of people you don't know, 100 of those business cards are probably going to get thrown away. And if you one of the biggest questions that I get is, where do I find content? So none of this is push button easy. You've got to put in a little bit of the work. Putting in the work is really key. So where do you find content? You go to popular blogs. There is so much information about real estate that's out there right now. You just have to take some time and do some searches as far as like new information. Like if you can find new information on the rental situation going on in Los Angeles, like that would be super helpful, because guess what? The rental situation is a hot mess. I cannot tell you how many times I've had clients, Tracy's had clients, I have agents that like they have issues with tenants, they have issues with rentals, and they have questions. And depending on if you're in LA City or LA County, it's hard to find information. So that's a niche. Foreclosures, like there's tons of stuff that if you do search, you can go to find popular blogs and find that information. Trending topics. You can Google what are trending topics. News outlets. So one of my most favorite places to find information that's a little different is Yahoo Finance. I will print out articles and pop them in the mail to clients, and I'll take information, I'll read it, and then I'll do my own op-ed piece on what I thought of that article, so it's different. You do not want to take the conversation that's happening out in the world right now and just regurgitate that, because all your clients are looking at the news, they're listening to the radio, they're all the trending topics that are out there. Like, I'll give you an example. Big thing about interest rates. Interest rates went up 0.75%. Like 20 realtors jumped on that. It's like, why? Don't talk about what everybody else is talking about. Find an aspect of the 0.75% interest rate and talk about something different. Like, how does that really matter? And then you take a spin off of it instead of talking about the same thing or explaining how interest rates work. Leave that to your lender. Like, that's your lender's job. Stories from friends. Find out what your friends are talking about, and then take that information and share that. Share it. Sharing is caring. That's what they say, right? Google Alerts. You can actually take Google Alerts, go in, search how to do a Google Alert. And you can basically, I have Google Alerts for real estate. I have Google Alerts for Las Vegas. I have Google Alerts for my own name. So if someone decides to put my name out on anything, I will get a Google Alert for it. You can always have someone find it for you. What I think is fascinating right now in real estate is that because of the pandemic, this whole training session that we're doing would have never happened before March of 2020. We were not doing Zoom like this. This was not even a thing. But the world has changed in such a major, major way that you are able to leverage yourself now in ways that you were never, ever able to leverage yourself before. I didn't do my first recruiting call until April 6th of 2020 on Zoom, and I figured out I was really good at it. But if you read the MREA says you should be able to do about 30 transactions before you have to hire somebody on your own in a calendar year. Well, that's based on a lot of things. One of the things that's really hard is that if you're going to hire somebody for 15 to 20 bucks an hour, that's really hard to do. But in today's world, you can hire a VA for $4 an hour to do literally everything that I've just told you to do. And if you train them the right way, it will be the best money that you could ever spend, because my time on social media is like 45 minutes a day, because that's one of my major platforms where I connect with people. And that's a lot of time during the day to do anything. If you really look at all the things that you do. This class is connected to my second class that I do, which is basically 0 to 7 figures. So I feel that this is the most important foundational part of your business that you should have locked down, because when I take people into the 7-figure course, if this is not locked down, we end up going back and having this discussion. It's really, really important that you have this connected piece and you're able to leverage yourself, because once you start going, if you get 6 deals happening in the next few months, you're not going to have time to go find somebody. But if you can hire somebody for $4 an hour, 4 hours a day, that's affordable for almost anybody. You close 1 or 2 deals. and you have that taken care of. But that is probably the biggest aha that I can give you, is that leveraging yourself is really important. So videos is hard. And I know a lot of agents don't like it. You don't have to put yourself on screen all the time. You can talk about something while filming a lake, while filming a house, while filming two cats fighting. You don't have to put yourself on camera all the time. But the best, yes, sir? Oh, I thought somebody said something there. Okay. So the best thing that I can tell you is, whoa, Cassie's throwing things. The best thing that I can tell you to do is document yourself and what you do and how you do it. And I know what you're saying. Nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about what I'm doing. I'm boring. Well, so are the Kardashians. The Kardashians are super boring. Tell me what they do. Like, tell me what do they do? Like, what do they really do? I've not been able to figure that out, but we are voyeuristic just by nature as a culture. I mean, if you go back to like the first reality show, which was, I think, it was like MTV. What was it called? MTV. Remember what it was called, Cassidy? It was an MTV reality show. Like everybody was in a house. And
It wasn't Real World, was it?
Real World, yes.
Okay.
It's like one of the first reality shows that was out there, and it was massively, massively popular. And then it started growing from there. But people like to watch what other people are doing, and they're interested in it, regardless of what it is. So don't say you're boring, because guess what? You're not watching you. It's going to be everybody else. But if you document what you do on a daily basis, on your struggles, on your successes, on all of those things, you will get an audience, and you will get leverage out of that. You tell stories about your business, tell stories about your sales, tell stories about your life. People want to connect with you. They want to. There's an urging to connect with you. Like when you go on a listing appointment, there's an 85% chance that you are going to get that listing, because when you walk in, people want to like you. It is your deal to lose when you walk into a listing appointment. It's the same thing when you record a video. When you record a video and you consistently put content out there, you're going to get people who follow you and people who like you. You may never, ever, ever know who it is or what they think. I used to wake up at 4 a.m. to go work out, because at that time in my life, my kids had to be at school at a certain time. I had to be at work at a certain time. There wasn't a lot of time for me to work out or train. And I found a buddy of mine who was doing workouts in the park, but I had to drag my ass out of bed at 4 a.m. I was not happy about it. And I said, you know what? I'm not happy, and everybody's going to know. And I did a little video every morning on how it sucked. Like I'm like, this sucks. Like I hate this. It's cold. It's dark. Like I complained probably like every 30 seconds for like 5 days a week. I would complain. But as I complained, I would say, you know what, but I got to get it done. I got to get it done because health is the most important thing. And I would explain my mindset and how I motivated myself. And I was really doing it for me. I really wasn't paying attention to who was listening to me or anything, but I didn't get a lot of comments. But then I remember I'm sitting in front of somebody and they're like, man, I really like those videos you did. I'm like, what videos are those? Like, remember when you used to wake up at 4 a.m. and you used to be like, I was like, wow. And then I had somebody else mention that, somebody else mention that. And then I realized, wow, people were actually vibing toward that, and they were paying attention. And you never know who's paying attention, ever, ever, ever. So you can document all of these different things. So I'll give you a tip. Most of you guys won't do it, but the ones that will get play out of it, is that you can do a video on a house. You can shoot the video of the house, you can shoot the video of you in front of the house, you can shoot you just in front of a camera. It doesn't matter how you do it, but you tell the story of how you got the lead, how you got that lead into contract, how that contract went to a house, and all the trials and tribulations that happened with that contact, and then what happened in the end, good or bad. You do that with every sale that you have, and all, like, even the ones like, this didn't happen, blah, 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 and then you never sold them anything. But you start telling stories about how your business works, you are going to get a lot of followers and a lot of people interested in your business. just by doing that. And if you have kids, I know somebody in there that talks about their kids all the time and the disasters that happen and the crazy things that happen with them and their kids. They never talk about their business, but the amount of interaction, engagement they get just because they talk about the craziness of their kids is gold. And it's all in what you do and what you do best. So video is really important. YouTube, Facebook Live, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Reels. You do not have to sign up for all of these. Pick one. So when the pandemic hit, I jumped on TikTok and I started playing around on TikTok. I was just trying to figure it out. You know, my kids were on it, and I'm used to being on the thing that the kids are on, because when Facebook came out in like 2007, 2008, I jumped on it, and like people in my office were like, "How old are you?" Like 13-year-olds are on that. Well, now grandparents are on that. And guess what? The same thing's happening to TikTok. So don't worry about where the kids are. The kids are the future, and they're going to tell us which direction we need to go. And if you don't think kids influence parents what to do, as far as like buying houses, I have a bunch of stories for you for that. But I was playing around with TikTok, and I figured it'd be really cool if I did Phil Collins' drum solo with my kitchen cabinets. And so I did like 3 takes with my wife, and I nailed it on the 3rd take. And we thought it was really cool. It was really funny, you know, and I did that with the kitchen cabinets. And then interestingly enough, within the first hour, there was 1,000 views. And then the first day there was 10,000 views. And then the 3rd day there was like 5 million views. And I ended up getting contacted by an agency who said, you know, "Is that your video?" And I said, "Yes, it is." They said, "Okay, whose video is it?" I go, "It's mine." They go, "Who's holding the camera?" I said, "My wife." They go, "Can I talk to her?" I go, "Well, but it's mine." They go, "No, no, no. It was my phone, but because she was holding the camera, it was actually her video. And now she gets paid every time somebody watches that video." It's really funny. But if you go to look at our TikTok now, because I think it's Tracy and Frank, or Frank and Tracy is our TikTok. It's all her on there. She's taken it over, and she's doing an amazing job on TikTok. If you want to see what really, really good TikTok videos look like, you can go, I think it's at Frank and Tracy on TikTok. She does a really good job, and she also posts them to Reels. But I stopped posting on TikTok because she was doing such a great job. I was like, man, I can't do as good a job as she's doing. So I'm just letting her do it. And then I started posting stuff on Reels. So if you go to my Instagram account, at FrankBernardo_KW, you will see all my Instagram stuff, and you will see my Reels on there, which I post, I think, pretty good content. I have not played with YouTube Shorts yet, which is basically the same thing as TikTok and Reels. I do Facebook Live every now and then, and I have not done a lot on YouTube. So you do not have to use all of them. Use the ones that you are going to use consistently. When I say consistently, every day. Because if you're not using it every day, and if you're not being consistent with it, you are leaving money on the table. Your clients are there, your friends' clients are there, everybody is on social media, and that is where you should be on there engaging. If you don't want to post anything, that's perfectly fine. I don't think I've told you to quote unquote post anything this entire time. If you go on there and you start having conversations with people, that's the key. Start sharing people's information to your page. That's going to be what the most important thing is. Pro tip. So, video pro tip. When you do a video, you have like literally 3 seconds to capture someone's interest. And most people will jump on video and they'll be like, "Hey, Facebook, it's Frank and happy Saturday." Well, by that time, I'm not interested. I'm done. You want to jump in and grab somebody's attention. So if you go to YouTube and you watch a YouTube ad, most people will give you their hook within the first 3 to 5 seconds. They'll be like, "Hey, do you want to learn how to do amazing filmmaking in less than 14 days? Well, yeah, I'd like to do that. That's the hook. That got me. In any video that you do, you want to grab somebody's attention because they are scrolling. They're doing the scroll. And if they see you, they go, oh, that's Frank. And then if I go, hey, happy Saturday, like, people aren't gonna like that. You may get like your mom, like would stay on and hang out and like listen to that stuff, but people that are super interested in content, they're going to move on. So you want to put your hook out there really fast. You want to introduce yourself. You want to put some great content on whatever your content is you're talking about, and then you want to do a pivot to call to action. The best example that I have of something like this is if you watch SportsCenter. SportsCenter starts out with like, it's Byron Allen, and we're gonna show Kobe's best shot that he's ever made, and then do you believe what Michael Jordan did today? So what that did is that gave me a hook. I'm gonna see Kobe's best shot ever, and then what they did is called future pacing me, by they're gonna show me, like, I'm gonna get to see something amazing that Michael Jordan did. So like now I'm in, like I wanna see that. And then you can say, this is Frank Bernardo, and welcome to SportsCenter today, and then I go into my content. And at the end, you can say, click here, go here, or whatever. So an example of that is, today we have a fixer that is under market value in Pacoima, California. This is Frank Bernardo. And then you go into the property and you say, to get more information, click here, or send a text message here, or whatever. But however your information is, like 10 best home selling tips, 10 biggest mistakes you make when you sell, like there's all of these different things. If you can take that information and put it into this hook, introduce yourself, content, and pivot call to action, and do that in under a minute, that is going to give you the most play for your engagement when it comes to social media. Talk to your people like they are 2 years old and walk them through your content. It's easier to listen to. People don't want to go through complicated stuff. So you go, hi, this is Frank Bernardo. Like, I'm talking to you like you're two, but it's easier to listen to. You're a business and you're a brand, so you act like it and copy what big brands do and news organizations are doing. Facebook gives you the platform to compete with all of the big brands that are out there because you have the same tools. You have the same audience. You have the same ability to catch somebody's attention. You just have to put the effort into learning how to do it. A lot of these things are what major players are doing out there on how they're grabbing people and grabbing people's attention and getting likes and getting comments. If you're not getting likes, if you're not getting comments, if you're not getting all of this stuff, don't ever let that deter you, and be patient, because things happen and things happen over time. All you need is what? 15 people a year to have an amazing career in real estate. If you're like your price point is 1.5 million and you got 15 people from social media, that's a pretty decent year. Tracy Tofty on Instagram, it's at Freckled Realtor. Mine is at Frank Bernardo _KW. If you go to Tracy's Instagram is awesome. She has a lot of followers and she gets a lot of business from Instagram. I would totally go check out her page. I've learned a lot from her. We've learned a lot from each other. I would ask you what books you're reading right now, because that's one of the things that I get my content from. I follow a lot of social media professionals on there on what books they have and what they're doing to get more content. What is the world's most valuable resource? So normally when I have a room full of people, I ask, I go, what's the most valuable resource? Some people go air, some people go water. So I don't know how many people are on here. Does anybody want to guess what the most valuable resource is? I actually said it earlier. I don't know if I got any engagement going on here.
Oh, there's chat.
Let's see what we got here. Where do we find a VA for $4 an hour? That's great. So if you Google Filipino VAs, you're going to find a whole bunch of different companies. There's a company like My Outdesk, Cyberbacker, like all of those people are people who find VAs for you, and they typically charge you $12 to $16 an hour. That's not where you go. There's Google Filipino job boards, and then there's Filipino VAs that are out there that you get them $4 to $6 an hour. literally any type of job that you want them to do, from posting on social media, general data, to like literally computer programmer, you can find on Filipino job boards. What was the other questions?
It was, somebody said they had to leave.
Oh.
They were hoping it was gonna be recorded.
Oh, I don't,
And yes, it will be recorded.
we're trying to be, sorry to have to get anybody else below.
No, also not the leaving.
Okay, so the most powerful, most valuable resource in the world is data. That is what everybody is looking for. That's what everybody's trying to find right now. They want data on who you are, what you're doing, and how you're doing it. And that is the same thing you should be going after. When you find someone, you take them, and this goes into my 0 to 7 figures class. You find someone, you take them, you put them into your database. You need their email, you need their phone number, you need their address, their home anniversary, their birthday, their kids' names. Do they have a dog? Where do they go to school? Who are their friends? Like, that's all data. If you have all of that for all of your friends, that makes you a very powerful person. And that's what everybody is looking for right now. Data is the new currency, and it's super powerful. Go to any website that has anything of value that they're giving away for free. It's not free. Nothing is free. It's just not a monetary cost, is that they're probably going to ask you for your email address, because email marketing is one of the most powerful marketing tools that are out there. And that also is in my next class. If you want to up your game, create an email marketing list for your clients and consistently email to them. Tracy has a program to where she keeps in touch with her people, and the second she implemented it, she started getting business. We're all doing this because we want to grow our businesses and we want to make more money. And if people say money can't buy happiness, I tell them you're shopping in the wrong place. Money can absolutely buy happiness. If you don't believe me, go down to Children's Hospital and Make-A-Wish Foundation and buy a wish for a dying child. That will make you happy. And it's a lot of money. So keep that in mind. Data is the new dollar value. How can you possibly do all of this? You hire somebody. So you hire a VA. If you want to contact me directly, I'll have Cassidy put my number in the chat. You can contact me directly. I'll get you, I'll do the work for you. I'll find the VA places for you and I'll send them to you if you want to hire a VA. Even if you paid a VA $800 a month, that's a pretty good deal. And you got one deal, that would pay for that VA for like the next 5 years. So leveraging yourself is really, really the new key for the new world we're in. That's basically 75% digital at this point. Questions? I touched on a lot of things and I had a lot of information. Normally, if I have a room full of people, I get more questions and it goes for another half an hour. That's why I scheduled this to 12:30. But I can take some questions right now before we wrap anything up if we have anything. Thoughts? Is there something somebody wanted to know about that I possibly didn't cover? It's a quiet group.
Yeah, I'm wondering why.
All right.
How was it? Question. Okay.
Paula, is there any questions on your end or are we good?
I don't see any questions from my agents. If anyone wants to jump in right now, before we go, while we have Frank's attention, please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask the question or put it in the chat. All I see is people are saying thank you so much, much appreciated. But again, if you guys have any questions, ask now.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. I hope it was helpful. If you guys ever want me to come back to teach my second class, 0 to 7 figures, just let me know. That's one of my favorite classes. It gives you a lot of basics, gives you a lot more work to do, but it definitely gets you on the path to hitting 6 figures in the next 6 to 12 months, or upping it to more than 6 figures in the next 6 to 12 months. So thank you so much for having me. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. I'll see you guys later.
Frank, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, we have one question actually. Koya said, do
Yes.
you have any suggestions on where we can hire this person? I think
Yes.
she's talking about the VA.
Yes, so you go to Google and type in Filipino job board. And you will find a whole bunch of job boards of people in the Philippines that are looking for work. And then some of the job boards you have to pay like $69 to be a part of, but you literally have people from $4 an hour to, I think the most expensive VA I found that I've ever paid for was $10 an hour. But the person you're paying $10 an hour to, that's a person you'd be paying $100,000 a year here in the States. The $4 an hour person is basically data entry and basic stuff, but all of them are all super talented. And I posted an ad for a VA and I swear I got like 200 responses. And I could basically almost name my price. So if you just type in Filipino job boards in Google, you're gonna find a whole bunch of stuff. You just have to look around and find, there's a lot of different places you could do it. Hope that helped. You're welcome. Awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much. Everybody have a fantastic week, and we'll see you the next time.
Thank you so much, Frank. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.